You say you're trying to undermine our bitahon in Rabbi Melech Moshiach, our confidence, our security, our assurance, and that is not true. I'm trying to buttress your bitahon, your assurance, your security, your confidence in the true Moshiach. If you will go to afii.org/bio HTML, and if you will look at this paragraph right here in 1961, you will see the significance of the year 1967 in terms of a prophecy in Luke 21:24, which is all about a revival among the Jews. And then you will see how the book, Everything You Need to Grow a Messianic Synagogue, was factored into that mix and was researched 10 years later and then published 3 years after that. If you look at this, it says enrolled at Indiana University, having graduated from Oklahoma City High School, when I believe a divine clock started to tick for me and for many Jewish people. In my 6th year following my high school graduation, that's 1967, in June 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, the Six-Day War occurred, where Israel destroyed the Egyptian Air Force in a preemptive strike, and, quote, Jerusalem was no longer stomped down by Goyim. And this was a sign that a revival would begin because the fig tree of Israel would start to blossom. It would no longer be dead, it would be blossoming, and that means revival. Look at Luke chapter 21, verse 24 in the Orthodox Jewish Bible. And just 4 years after that, we're talking about 1971, the book below, under the publishing date 1974, Everything You Need to Grow a Messianic Synagogue, was researched starting in 1971 when the crucial passage in Acts chapter 21, verses 20 and 21 was translated. Because after 1967, instead of 1 or 2 Jewish people coming to faith, coming to Emunah, we're talking about a revival, not just 1 or 2 people coming to faith. There were hundreds of congregations of Jewish people coming to faith, coming to Emunah. And this 1974 book told them basically this: look, don't follow Paul's church planting example. See Galatians 2:9 on the proper Shaliach congregation planning specialization. Paul was specializing in Gentile congregation planning, but the others were focusing on Jewish planting. Follow the example of Yaakov the Shaliach, who had a messianic synagogue in Jerusalem. And these Jews were zealous for the Torah, and they lived a Jewish lifestyle. They did not assimilate, and the synagogues were very Jewish, and they saw Moshiach in every verse of the Torah, Luke 24:44. And that's why they were so zealous for the Torah. See, this work called Luke Acts, you have to look at Luke 24:44 and Acts 21 and get this. And that's why they were so zealous for the Torah. They believed in the Mashiach. Now look at this, Acts 21:20. They were believers in this Mashiach that we preach. And so they said, Rav Shaul, you have to go to the temple and show that you're still a practicing Jew, and you have to leave us to keep doing what we're doing, which is proliferating Messianic synagogues. See Acts chapter 21. So this book, Everything You Need to Grow a Messianic Synagogue, was researched in my 10th year after high school, which was 4 years after the Six-Day War, when this Jewish revival began, according to Luke 21:24. And God was timing the publication of this book, I believe. This is my own personal belief. You don't have to believe this. And that's why when I got out of high school, and there were 10 long years, that's why those 10 long years occurred before I became a believer, because Hashem wanted to wait, because he knew that when my salvation preacher picked up the phone and called his friend Donald McGavran, hey, I've got a young man here I want to send over to the seminary. At that exact moment, Hashem arranged and timed that this book would come through McGavran. Not me, I'm a nobody, but McGavran was extremely important internationally in missiology. And God wanted that. He wanted this to have the imprimatur of McGavran on it, this book. And that's why my salvation was timed the way it was. I believe that. You don't have to believe that, but I believe that. And this has to do with the fact that we do have confidence in the Rabbi Melech HaMoshiach. And why do we have confidence in him? Because he is our goal redeemer. He's alive. He has put his Ruach HaKodesh in us, as it says in Romans chapter 8, verse 16. And what does it say here? It says, the Ruach HaKodesh himself bears witness with our regenerate, this is Yohanan 3:6, our regenerate Ruach, that we are B'nai HaElokim. We are B'nai HaElokim. We cry out, Abba, Father, because we have the Ruach HaKodesh. The B'Shefer has made us into new creatures, and he put his spirit in us, the spirit of adoption. And you can see this on page 1014. Go to afii.org/capital O, capital J, capital B.pdf. And you will see this wonderful word here, found in the book of Esther, which I had to study every Hebrew word. And I found this word in the last chapter of Esther, verse 29. Then Esther Hamalka, the bat Avihail, and Mordecai HaYehudi wrote with Kol Tokef, all authority. See Yohanan chapter 1, verses 12 to 13. That word Tokef, when you flip over and you look at this chapter 1, verse 12, you see it says, but as many as him, Lekabel Pnei Moshiach, this is a Lubavitcher word, receive him as Moshiach, to them he gave the Tokef, the authority, the adoptive authority. It's like I have adoption papers, and when I go to the bank, I can pull out Here, look, it says I'm Phil Rockefeller, or I'm Phil Goebel, the son of the king, the Rebbe Melech Moshiach. I have this adoptive tokef authority to become, in fact, Yelodim Ha-Elokim. And then there's a reference here, Devarim 14:1. So this word tokef has to do with the adoptive tokef, which we specifically took that word from Esther to translate the original language, and we used Lubavitcher terminology for the rest of the verse, and that's why this book is a Lubavitcher translation, which we're putting all over Crown Heights, and which you can get a free copy, afii.org/O, J, B.PDF.